Okay, Norman, how you doing? All right, where are we? Here you are, right here. Okay, here's my assignment. Please provide feedback. Absolutely, more than glad. Let's go ahead and jump over. You're looking great here. Really, really great. I just think this is fantastic. I think you've done a really good job. You're definitely paying attention, and and you've added some really interesting things here. Now, that said, there's a couple of things, there's a couple of areas I hear that I think are creating a little bit of an inconsistency. And one of the main things is, well, let's go through it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, first of all, see these chiseled, um, whoops, sorry about that. There's these vertical stems right here for the I. Let's see how they're chiseled. I know that the I and the L are they're chiseled in a different direction, and I'm not real sure if you might want to try to go ahead and angle that the same as the I so that those vertical stems are identical on the I and the L. That's something, I don't know, that's going to end up coming down to personal preference. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what you've done, but I'm wondering if the consistency may be improved a little bit if you were to duplicate that vertical stem on the L, and specifically the angle of that chiseled end of the letter. Okay, the next thing is this, is that we have this thing in typography called overshoot. And basically what that does is if you take this word club and you take a look at it, right now, even though, let me use this as a straight edge, but we can see that the L is the same height as the rest of the cap line, right? But it looks smaller. We can see it clearly looks smaller. There's this thing called overshoot in typography. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to make that letter a little bit, just a couple of pixels larger, so it overhangs on that cap height line, just to give it the illusion that it's the same size. Because right now you have to admit that looks considerably smaller than the C, U, and the B. Okay, and so we can see the same thing here, maybe to a little bit of a lesser extent, but definitely it's there. And I think the reason to a lesser extent is because we got this relationship here, this negative space of this relationship. I see something here right now that these angles are not the same. Okay, that angle on the F is not the same angle as the top of that I, and that's creating a little visual tension here and reducing the harmony associated with the typeface. So I would definitely take a look at things like that angle and make that consistent. Okay, even right there through there, because right now we can see, as we can see, it creates this kind of uncomfortable visual tension in this open space right here, this negative space between the F and the I, because the distance between here, the bottom of those two letter forms is less. The distance between the top is greater in the negative space, indicating that the angle is not consistent. The angle on the I is not consistent. A couple of other areas I think that are a little jarring are the counters for your cap A, your cap B, and the R. And the reason I say that, by the way, the cap B and the cap R just look fantastic. That's what I'm talking about. That's consistency right there. That's excellent. The counter is a little small though. I'm going to do something right here since we're in PDF. Yes, this is a PDF, so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Watch what happens to that closed counter of the cap B on club. Watch it disappear. Okay, there. It's basically, it's gone right now, rendering this as an unrecognizable letter form. We can definitely see that the counters have disappeared on the smaller. So if we zoom out further, you'll see the same thing happen right there. Okay, that's an issue because it's reducing the versatility of the typeface, and it being something that I would consider to be a display face. You don't want to do that. You want to have those letter forms completely visible. So I guess what I'm saying here is increase that. Let me just increase the size of your closed counters in the cap B, the cap R, the cap A. Definitely, you'll see a difference here. One thing I'm on the fence about here is this. This W. See how it hangs above that? I mean, theoretically, that should be the same vertical stem as you're using in the L and the I and some of your other letter forms. Well, the angled letter forms anyway. So why that is sticking up above the cap line I'm not real sure. It seems the only letter form that is, but it's not the only letter form that uses that chiseled um, that chiseled vertical stem. You see what I'm saying? So there's a little inconsistency there. We can see it with the L and the W. One of your peers had mentioned this, and I totally agree. Some of your stems, for example, right here, the stroke of that diagonal is really thin. That should be more consistent with the stroke of the diagonal in the N. I'm sorry, in the M. So the N should just be basically the M with that diagonal stroke coming all the way down to the baseline, and then that vertical stem coming up from there, as opposed to completely changing the mechanics of the N by reducing the size, the weight of that diagonal stroke. Okay, so little things like that, just little inconsistencies. And once you go through my comments and adjust my comments, you're going to find a couple other little things. Feel free to adjust them. If you want me to look at it again, I will. But you're ready to go. Yeah, so address those changes. Okay, and then let's go ahead and start thinking about creating your lowercase as well as your numeric and punctuations as well. All right, fantastic work. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Thank you very much.